What's up, party people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 164 and season 5, episode 26 of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 164th time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow scumbags, shady characters, lowlifes, hoodlums, scoundrels, heathens, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, wise guys, people that give themselves nicknames and speak in the third person. Absolutely unnecessary practice, unacceptable. Foul-mouthed, raging alcoholics, MLB players that got into a fight with Bryce Harper. You know who you are, and thanks for listening and watching. Cheats, disasters that take pride in a $4 profit on the WNBA. Also unacceptable practice. Fienders with abusive language, gangsters, degenerates. Let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, that means you probably fit into one or a few of those categories, so welcome. Because you're now one of us. One of us. One of us. One of us. Google gobble, one of us. We accepted one of us. Sorry. Sometimes I get a little carried away there for a moment. Hey, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. Like it, subscribe to it, ring that bell. To spread the word is also very easy. Just tell other degenerates and scumbags you know to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That'll take you directly to my page, and you can get dialed into everything that I have for you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners. The books, they don't expect a guy like me. They just don't. They're not ready. They're not prepared, right? All I do is deliver winners for you, right? On a weekly basis. I'm an outlier and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene.
That's exactly what I do. I disrupt, right? I go to the mattresses and I get the info for you every single week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts.
Give me all you got. Listen, give me all you got.
That never gets old. It really doesn't. I love it. Football season is officially over, and it ended in a thud last Sunday for me, with the Eagles absolutely dismantling the Chiefs. Yeah, I missed both sides of the Super Bowl. Though if you listened to last week's Stoniecast, I clearly said that Philly was the better team who had all the advantages. But I took KC because they've cost me in the last 2 Super Bowls. Well, now they've cost me in the last 3 Super Bowls. I mean, I said it last week and I'll repeat it here, but football games are won in the trenches, and that was never more evident than last Sunday. Kansas City's defensive line didn't get near Jalen Hurts, while Philly's D-line wouldn't allow Patrick Mahomes to breathe. Mahomes was awful, and sure, a lot of it has to do with the amount of pressure he was constantly facing, but he never made any adjustments to roll out or get rid of the ball quicker, or anything. It just appeared to me that for the middle 2.5 quarters, the Chiefs were continuing to run the same play, and Philly's defense had him clocked. Offensively, the Eagles had their way with the Kansas City defense. Can we finally put to rest the talk about Mahomes in the GOAT debate? I've never had him there anyway, right? Maybe top 10, but certainly not top 5. And I never saw Tom Brady or Joe Montana look like that in any of their Super Bowls. Sure, Mahomes has now played in 5 before the age of 30, but 3-2 is a far cry from 4-1. And when you look at the 2 losses he's had, they were both blowouts in which he was just absolutely lousy. There's no way around that. Are they still a massive favorite to come out of the AFC again next year? Sure. Why wouldn't they be? They're still loaded. But they have clear weaknesses that were masked by a lot of close wins this year that didn't reflect their gaudy record. But with all that being said, despite the blowout, 127 million people tuned in to watch the Super Bowl 59, which makes it the most watched event in the history of television. And no, 127 million people didn't tune in to watch a mumble rapper mumble his way through a disastrous halftime show. What a sham. I'm glad I changed the channel at minute 2 of that mess. All in all, though, despite a blowout and a bad halftime show, the numbers don't lie, and there were a hell of a lot of eyes on that game. As for the week that was, I wish I can call it the week that wasn't, but it was my worst week in 5 years, and my worst Saturday of college hoops in 7 years. 9-17-1 on Saturday is just a massive ouch, and it forced me to lick my wounds. 4-4 on Sunday and 3-1 on Monday didn't help. So I ended the week 36-45-1 in college hoops. That's just unacceptable. And when you add both sides of the Super Bowl as L's, it just gets worse. Now, with that being said, I did hit on 9 of my 15 prop bets, with 4 of them hitting at a good chunk, including A.J. Brown's anytime touchdown, which paid plus 185. Also, I did not count prop bets in my record. I just don't do that. So I'll just take the massive loss in my numbers that I'm about to give you. A bad week is just simply a bad week, and the only way to fix it is to bounce back and start stacking winners. College hoops is all you get from now through the next 6 weeks. Let's take a look at the updated numbers. Last week, 36 wins, 47 losses, 1 push, 43.37%. That's just horrible. NFL playoffs to end 12-13-1. 48%. That's what happens when you miss your last 6 bets of the NFL playoffs. NCAA basketball regular season, 558 wins, 438 losses, 9 pushes, 55.97%. Numbers sunk after a miserable week. But overall, 25 weeks, all 25 of my Stoniecast, and over 1,700 plays. I'm at 1,034 wins, 777 losses, and 16 pushes. That's good for 57.09%. A bad week dropped me almost a full percentage point overall. Now, please remember that all of these picks are 100% free. So for all the touts out there that are giving you 75 to 80% winners guaranteed, come on, stop. We all know you're full of shit. Plus, you're charging for these picks.
Oh!
Yeah. I mean, really? With me, all you got to do is come to YouTube every week and I'll give you my plays for free. You ready? Away we go. Episode number 26.
Just win, baby.
That's right, Al. Way to tell him, baby. A weird thing happens to me when I'm not even considering football. I had a few good weeks during the NFL playoffs, but the week after the conference championship games, where there was no football, I had a huge week. Second best week of the year. Then Super Bowl week happened and I got crushed. Now with football completely off my radar and in the rearview mirror, I got the new week started off well on Tuesday by going 11-8 on Tuesday and a massive 13-5 on Wednesday before a 5-3 on Thursday to drop a 29-16 on the books so far this week as I continue to wreck the system and deliver after last week's hiccup. There's action going on right now. It's all over the place, right? And I've got action on it, and I told you who to take. But tomorrow is what this week is all about. Saturdays are just insane this time of year. Keep in mind that these college picks are primarily the opening numbers as I'm recording this Stoniecast the night before the games. So there will be some line movement the closer we get to tip-off tomorrow. So let's get it all started. You ready? Noon Eastern in the Queen City on FS1 at the Cintas Center. Xavier's a 12.5-point home chalk over DePaul. Xavier's played well lately, but hasn't covered a lot of numbers, while DePaul has been a mess all season, but is doing surprisingly well against the number. All that changes here as I jump on Xavier to start the week at -12 and a hook. Noon Eastern tomorrow on ESPN and College Station. 8th-ranked Texas A&M is a 9-point home favorite versus Arkansas. A&M's ripped off 4 straight while Arkansas is playing much better. They've won 3 out of 4. This is a big number, and I'm going to take the points with John Calipari catching 9 on the road. Noon Eastern on the CW Network in Tallahassee. 23rd-ranked Clemson's a 4.5-point road favorite at Florida State. Clemson's gaudy record has masked some major deficiencies, and FSU has had issues all season. But at home, I'm going to take the Noles and the 4.5. 12:30 Eastern on USA Network. We got a good Atlantic 10 matchup in Fairfax, as George Mason is a 4.5-point home favorite versus St. Joseph's. Mason's just smoking hot right now. They've got it all going. They've got a stranglehold on the top spot of the A-10. They've won 10 straight, including multiple covers for your boy.
Hoo-ah!
That's right, Al. Tell him one more time.
Hoo-ah!
Attaboy. Thank you for that. Needed that one. But St. Joe's is playing with a lot more passion lately, and they've won 4 out of 5 themselves. That's not going to help the Hawks here, especially on the road. I'll take Mason at home, laying 4 and a chunk. 1 Eastern on SEC Network in Knoxville. Excuse me. 5th-ranked Tennessee is a huge 13.5-point home favorite versus Vanderbilt. Great interstate rivalry here. Hang on one second. Gonna need some water here. There we go. Tennessee's looking for revenge after losing in Nashville last month. And their only 2 losses in their last 6 games have both been to Kentucky. While Vandy lost its momentum and has now dropped 3 out of 4. But as much as I would love to take Vandy here, just can't do it. I'm going to lay the points and roll with UT minus 13.5 on Rocky Top. 1 Eastern on CBS in West Lafayette. A good one in the Big Ten has number 7 Purdue as a 5.5-point home favorite versus Wisconsin. Both teams come in on heaters, and Purdue looks to bounce back from a tough loss in Ann Arbor Tuesday night, while Wisconsin's quietly been blowing teams out. This one has the makings of a really, really good one. While I won't exactly call for a sprinkle, I will take Wisconsin and the points. Whiskey plus 5.5. 2 Eastern on Big Ten Network in Happy Valley. Penn State's a 6-point home favorite versus Washington. 2 middling Big Ten squads get after it as they're both hovering around the 500 mark. But UW has issues on the road in their inaugural season in the Big Ten. I'm going to take Penn State here and lay the 6. A good one in the Big 12 goes at 2 Eastern with the 2 best teams in the Big 12 at the McHale Center in Tucson, as 6th-ranked Houston is a 1.5-point road favorite at Arizona. Houston keeps on rolling and looks every bit like a Final Four team, while Arizona's red-hot streak came to a halt in Tuesday night's loss in the Little Apple. I like Houston's tenacity on defense and the glass, and I love Kelvin Sampson. But I just have to take the home dog here. I really don't have a choice. Give me Zona catching a point and a hook with a little sprinkle on the money line.
Sprinkle me, man.
Attaboy. Thank you, 40. 2 Eastern tomorrow on the Deuce in Waco. Baylor's an 8-point home favorite over West Virginia. Both schools have flip-flopped wins in their last 6, but Baylor's L's have all come outside of Waco. I like what the Mountaineers have accomplished this year, but they're in trouble here on the road. Baylor minus 8. 2 Eastern on FS1 at historic Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Butler's a 4-point home favorite versus Georgetown. Butler's been a mess all season, but they've been better than Georgetown lately, including a win in our nation's capital on New Year's Eve. Georgetown gets their revenge here. They just have to. Hoyas plus 4 with a sprinkle. Tell them, 40.
Sprinkle me, man. Sprinkle me.
Thank you. That was necessary, by the way. 2:30 Eastern on Big Fox in South Orange. 2-time defending national champion Connecticut is a 14.5-point road chalk at Seton Hall. UConn hasn't been the same this year and ain't gonna three-peat. but they're still very dangerous, while Seton Hall has been a mess. I don't care. That's way too many points to lay on the road. Give me the Hall and the 14.5 at home. 3 Eastern on ESPN Plus in Stillwater. 12th ranked Texas Tech is a 10.5 point road favorite at Oklahoma State. Tech continues to pile up the W's, while Okie State has been a disaster all season long. Tech won a double overtime thriller at Arizona State a couple days ago, thanks to J.D. Toppin being simply a badass. I like Tech, but not enough to cover this one. Okie State plus 10.5 at home. 3:30 Eastern on SEC Network in Athens. 21st ranked Missouri is a 1 point road favorite at Georgia. Mizzou had a couple tough losses to A&M and Tennessee last week, but they rebounded with a blowout win over Oklahoma on Wednesday night. UGA's lost 3 out of 4 to ranked SEC foes and now face another one. Though they're at home this time, doesn't matter. Add another L. Mizzou gets it done here. Tigers -1 on the road. 4 Eastern tomorrow on the Deuce in Ames. 10th ranked Iowa State's a 12 point home favorite over Cincinnati. Iowa State's puzzling 3-game losing streak came to an end with 2 easy wins last week, while Cincy hasn't been great. But they've been picking off Big 12 opponents all season long, and they've won 3 in a row themselves. Not here. ISU has their swag back, and they roll. Cyclones -12. 4 Eastern on ABC in Durham. 3rd ranked Duke is a massive 22 point home favorite over Stanford. Duke is loaded, and with only 1 loss in conference, they look like a Final Four team, while Stanford has played well in their first year in the ACC, better than most people thought. Duke just crushed Cal the other day, and they're going to win again easily here. But I'm going to take the Cardinal with all those points on the road. 4 Eastern on Big Ten Network in La La Land. Southern Cal's a 6.5 point home chalk versus Minnesota. Neither team's very good, and neither team have played well lately. But Minnie has been really bad on the road. I'll take SC here, and I'm going to lay the 6.5. 4 Eastern on ESPN, and the biggest game of the year so far this year. Pure and simple. It's rare that you get this kind of matchup where 1 meets 2. This one's in Tuscaloosa. Number 2 Alabama is a 1.5 point home favorite versus top-ranked Auburn. No, this is not the Iron Bowl, and no, this is not football. But the 2 best teams in the nation get after it in a really enthralling matchup. Star powers everywhere. Mark Sears versus Janai Broom. Nate Oates versus Bruce Pearl. War Eagle versus Roll Tide. As much as I like Auburn and Janai Broom, Bama's time is now, and they will take over the number 1 spot come Monday morning. Roll Tide, -1.5. 6 Eastern tomorrow on ACC Network in Big D. Southern Methodist is a 5.5 point home favorite over Wake Forest. Wake has been solid, but SMU's rolling lately, and the friendly confines of Dallas are they're going to will the Mustangs to the cover. SMU -5.5. 6 Eastern tomorrow on SEC Network in Norman. Oklahoma's an 8 point home chalk over Louisiana State. OU's been tough, but they've been better at home. Louisiana State has just been, lousy. Sooners roll here. OU -8. 6 Eastern on ESPN2 in Oxford. 19th ranked Mississippi is a 4.5 point home favorite versus number 22 Mississippi State. 2 really good SEC schools get after it in basketball's version of the Golden Egg Bowl. This one's also got the makings of a good one, and I'm going to take the road dog here in Hale State, catching 4.5. 8 Eastern on CBS Network in Bowling Green. One of the greatest names of a rivalry, 100 Miles of Hate. It continues in hoops this time as Western Kentucky's a 3 point home favorite versus Middle Tennessee. They're both above average teams in Conference USC and Conference USA, but strange things happen at Diddy Arena. I've been there and I've seen strange things happen. It's only about an hour and a half from here. I'll take the Hilltoppers here, laying 3 at home. 8 Eastern on ESPN in Austin. Texas is a 1.5 point home favorite versus 15th ranked Kentucky. UK had some bad losses, but some really good wins lately too in the rough and tumble SEC, while Texas is hanging on for dear life. They need this one more than the Cats do, so I'm going to take the Horns, -1.5. 8 Eastern on Big Fox and Champaign. Illinois' 5-point home chalk versus 11th-ranked Michigan State. Two schools seem to be heading in opposite directions meet here, as MSU's dropped 3 out of 4, while Illinois won 3 out of 4. I like what I saw from Sparty a month ago, but I like what I've seen from the Illini lately. Illinois -5. 8 Eastern on ESPN Plus in Tempe. A couple of 500 teams meet up in the desert as Arizona State is a 5.5-point home favorite versus Texas Christian. ASU just can't seem to help themselves, and while a win here would help, they ain't going to cover. TCU +5.5. 8:30 Eastern on SEC Network in Gainesville. Third-ranked Florida is a 16.5-point home favorite versus South Carolina. Gator Nation right now, Gator Nation, they're looking like a Final Four team, while USC, they've been clearly struggling. Tell them, Joe.
Struggling.
One more time for good luck.
Struggling.
Thanks, Joe. Needed that one. I have to be crazy, but crazy like a fox is a thing. Give me the Gators. Lay the 16.5. 9 Eastern on ESPN Plus in Provo. Brigham Young's a 5.5-point home favorite over Kansas State. BYU's been very good all season, while suddenly red-hot K-State looks to stay that way. I'm a big fan of BYU to do some damage next month, but right now I got to roll with the hot hand. They may not win, but I'm going to take K-State and the points on the road. 10 Eastern on ESPN in Salt Lake Stony. 17th-ranked Kansas is an 8.5-point road favorite at Utah. KU's reeling, while Utah isn't much better than a 500 squad. But Utah just keeps breaking my heart and costing me dollars. I hate laying this type of number on the road, but at this point, I really don't give a shit. KU, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, -8.5. 10 Eastern on the Deuce in Moraga. St. Mary's a 14.5-point home favorite versus Washington State. The fact that the Gales aren't ranked is still a travesty, while Wazoo has some really bad losses on their ledger lately. Either way, St. Mary's wins, but doesn't blow a lot of teams out. So I'm going to take the Cougars here, catching 14 in a chunk on the road. 10 Eastern on CBS Sports Network in San Diego. Two of the Mountain West's big dogs get after it, as San Diego State is a 2.5-point home favorite over Boise State. This one's another good one, and while I like the Aztecs' defensive prowess, I have to roll with Boise State here, catching 2.5 on the road with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man.
That's exactly it. That a boy, Earl. And finally, this week's Degenerate Special goes at midnight Eastern on ESPN Plus in Stony Lulu. UC Irvine is a 5-point road favorite at Hawaii. The old adage is to take Hawaii at home because the visitors are busy partying as opposed to concentrating and focusing on winning. Nope, not here. Hawaii's pretty good, but the Anteaters are cruising right now. Irvine -5 in the late night get right to close out an absolutely crazy day. 30 plays are excessive for some, but at least 18 wins makes for a good day, while 20 makes for a great one. Make sure to check the comments section every single day here going forward for daily hoops picks. And check back next Friday as Stoniecast 165 will be coming at you. So until then, just remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. For me, the action is the juice. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. Do you want to win or do you want to make money? There's a big difference. Decide. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Yep, I still miss you, Gooch, my brother. Couple of quick shout-outs. Alec Candia, Long time no talk, 20 plus years. Love you, man. Great talking with you yesterday, and I hope you enjoy this. Also, big love goes out to my nieces and nephews and cousins and sister-in-law, all dancing at FDF this weekend in Anaheim. Let's go, Oakland. Kick some ass, Oakland. Make me proud.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.